Marquis T. Woods's father was abusive. Years later, even as an adult, it still haunts him, and his scars remind him of his past. But Marquis works hard, and now he's living the good life. His wife, Viora, gets locked in the bathroom, but Marquis knows how to pick a lock, something he had to learn. Marquis really good with his hands, and Miss Viora knows it. Marquis works as a lawyer for Mr. Wyman's company, and he's very good at his job. Then one day, Marquis receives news that his father just died. He has to return home to handle the paperwork and estate matters. Viora points out that Marquis doesn't really talk about his father. So Marquis finally admits he last saw his father just before he ran away from Appalachia because he wasn't a good man. Viora insists they attend the funeral on the weekend. Their children, teenagers Ty and Sam, both have plans and aren't happy they have to cancel for the funeral. Ty, their 16-year-old son, has a bully. Marquis advises his son to talk to the teacher, but no matter what happens, don't fight. Because his father's place is in the Appalachian Mountains, Marquis decides to fly his own plane. Can this family adopt me? When they finally land, Marquis enters a store to buy some snacks for his family. It's quite a secluded place. He sees the store owner making a mojo bag. The old man says it offers some kind of protection so people can't cast spells on you. He tells Marquis to take one if he's going to go to the mountains, but Marquis declines, saying he doesn't really believe in that kind of stuff. When he goes to the bathroom, it smells like something fierce, so he decides not to place his smooth derriere on it. Meanwhile, Ty talks to another young man, asking where he can get reception for his phone. The young man notices that the family has money, and for a second, Ty is nervous the stranger is going to rob them. The stranger asks to see Ty's phone, and he reluctantly hands it to him. However, when Ty mentions that they are going to the mountains for a funeral, the stranger hands the phone back to him. Then a Sheriff Tom Pines, approaches them, asking where they are heading. Marquis says they're going to Cypress Ridge. He wants to leave immediately because there's going to be a storm. Yet he chose to fly a plane? It quickly becomes tense when Ty makes a joke about the sheriff, so Viora quickly calls out her son. The pissed-off cop slams their door. He def not like us. During the plane ride, apparently the engine is quite enough to have a conversation, so Viora and Marquis argue about their children's upbringing. Viora doesn't like that Marquis spoils their kids, but Marquis doesn't want to be like his father, violent and abusive. He admits that he's lenient and prefers it that way. Suddenly, the plane is caught in the storm. Marquis is confident he can navigate through until he loses control of it. Marquis wakes up in an unfamiliar room, wounded and alone. He tries to walk, but his foot is badly injured. A woman named Eloise enters and orders him to calm down. But Marquis wants to see his family, and Eloise doesn't answer any question he throws. Unable to control Marquis, Eloise calls her husband, Earl. But the old man is not strong enough to keep Marquis in place. He says that they saved Marquis after the plane accident, but explains that there was no one else there. When Marquis insists on leaving, the couple calls Louis, a large man who barely speaks. Louis carries Marquis and throws him back to bed as if he's going to get dicked down. Then Eloise blows some kind of cocaine dust to his face to put him back to sleep. The old woman proceeds to create a voodoo doll for Marquis, while Louis busies himself in digging 3 graves. The next time Marquis wakes up, Eloise tells him he has poison in his blood. He begs her to call an ambulance and even offers to pay a huge amount of money if Eloise helps him. But Eloise says they don't have phones because she was scammed on Facebook by a Nigerian prince. Then she showed Marquis a boogity, a kind of voodoo doll that looks like him. Eloise says she knows spells and how to use the dolls. With it, she claims she can make Marquis get better or make him feel worse. The more the doll looks like Marquis, the more it'll work. She puts the doll near the window before pouring some salt on the windowsill. The locked door also has a bell so the couple will know just in case Marquis tries to escape. Realizing he's not really safe where he is, Marquis starts to plan his escape. Later that night, he goes out the window. He jumps on roofs until he lands on the barn, where a meeting is being held. Eloise announces that she's going to heal everyone there, but this time, she'll be using animal parts. If they want the real deal, they'd have to wait until the blood moon. Eloise calls a mute woman, claiming she can make her talk. She orders Earl to kill the cat they have, cut off its tongue, and put it in the mute woman's boogity. Earl does as he's told, and Eloise casts a spell on the woman to finish the job. Everyone is surprised when the woman speaks, but Marquis is disgusted. Now, why they got these people doing white people shit? Then, a man with no eyes named Julius is called in front. Eloise asks for a pair of goat's eyes to be given to Julius. She then put them in the holes where his eyes used to be. The cat's eyes are also taken and placed in Julius' boogity. And when the old man with thyroid eyes looks up, he sees Marquis watching them. Eloise gets alerted, but Marquis makes it back in bed by the time Eloise walks in. He's drenched and catching his breath, but tries to act as if he just had a wet dream. Unfortunately, he has left the window open, and the salt on the windowsill is messed up too. Still, he lies and says he never left his bed. Then Eloise mentions they are doing something like faith healing, except it's boogity. Bippity boppity boo, this hoe is a wacko too? She assumes Marquis wouldn't understand because he's a rich city boy. Marquis unintentionally offends the woman when he admits he doesn't believe in all the voodoo. Eloise says they don't have much choice because Trump took their health care and faith healing is all they have. That night, Marquis dreams of his father again. Eloise has figured he was used to getting beaten when she saw Marquis' scars. The next day, Marquis wakes up to the sound of a phone. He enjoys the food on the table, and Eloise is so pleased she goes downstairs to get him more. Marquis grabs the chance to remove the clapper, the thing inside the bell that makes a sound. When Eloise returns, he's back in bed. She says she loves a man with an appetite and foin on top of that too. He asks her about the cell phone sound, but Eloise reiterates they don't have phones. She encourages Marquis not to worry because she has read the bones and knows that the poison inside Marquis will be gone by the blood moon, which is just a few days away. He will also see his family by then. Eloise gives the bones to Marquis, telling him to throw them. Eloise goes out, leaving Marquis alone. He positions the bones and discovers that they are human bones. He vomits and sees that there is a fragment of something in his food. Marquis panics but pretends everything is okay. When he finds a chance, he picks up the lock and goes downstairs. He is almost caught when Earl's bird starts making some noise. Marquis grabs a flashlight and runs out of the house. Eloise discovers he's not in his room and alerts Earl immediately. Marquis is still in pain, but he tries to run as far away as he can. He tries to think about his family and musters the courage to get back up. He finds his plane that crashed, but there are no dead bodies inside. He's about to go ask for help in a nearby house when Lewis catches him and takes him back. When Marquis wakes up the next day, he finds a long and thick spike under his foot. He removes it and leaves the attic. He panics when he sees 3 shallow graves in front of the house. He starts digging and is relieved they are animal graves and not of his family. He continues to look around and inside a cellar finds some caskets with dead bodies. He also finds an old photo of Lewis, Earl, and Eloise. The date reads 1860. On top of that, he stumbles upon a book about the blood moon detailing a transference of life spell. Oh, this some get out shit. Feeling cornered, Marquis decides it's time to fight back. He creates his own boogity and steals some hair strands from Eloise, Lewis, and Earl's things. Then he hides the dolls. Unfortunately, Big Back Bonnie and Clyde are on their way back to the house. Marquis hears a cell phone sound, follows it, and finds Ty's cell phone hidden. He returns to the attic and penetrates himself with the spike to fool the couple into believing he never left the room. When Eloise, Lewis, and Earl enter, Eloise satisfies her foot fetish, and they believe that Marquis never left. But as soon as they exit the room, Marquis takes Ty's phone and calls 911. The sheriff answers. He's shocked that Marquis is only calling him now. He says Sam and Viora went to the station 5 days prior, hurt and bruised, but Ty is still missing. Marquis manages to say Eloise and Earl's names. The sheriff promises to check the place. However, when the sheriff's car pulls over in front of the house, Eloise barges into the room. She's very angry. She ties a rope around the boogity to keep Marquis immobile. Then she prevents any word from coming out of his mouth. While the old couple talks to the sheriff, Marquis grabs a small shard of glass on the floor. Then he presses his face against the window to get the sheriff's attention. But with no word coming out of his mouth, it's impossible. He grabs the boogity and makes his way downstairs. But the sheriff has already left, and the couple is waiting for him. Marquis runs out of the house. Luckily, he catches the sheriff's car later that night. Using the shard of glass, he releases the blockage covering his mouth and the rope around the doll's body. Now that he can finally talk, he tells the sheriff that they are surrounded by a cult using spells and voodoo, and at the top of it is Eloise. To Marquis' surprise, the car goes back to Eloise's farm, and the sheriff hands him back to the old couple. It turns out that the Cracker Barrel sheriff is in on it. Marquis is dragged into a barn where he sees Sam, Viora, and Ty, but his family is in some kind of trance. Eloise wants to take Marquis' heart for the transference spell, but just before Earl can stab Marquis, Marquis grabs Earl's hands and stabs him in the chest. All the guests run out of the barn, leaving just Marquis and his family. It turns out that he had prepared a special powder earlier to get them out of a trance. He apologizes to his wife and kids once the spell is gone. Marquis heads out and kills the sheriff to get his car. When he returns to the barn, Lewis attacks him, But Marky has put Lewis's boogity underwater to drown him. Eloise thinks she's safe because she hid her boogity. But Marky has made a new voodoo doll for her. He gets her into a trance by blowing crack into her lungs. He hits the doll hard enough for Eloise to be yeeted and slam against the post. As the barn catches fire, he admits he has learned a lot from her and his father. Marquis puts some salt on the doorway, which stops anyone with hypertension from stepping across it. Eloise is trapped. Because he has a box full of boogity, no one wants to mess with him. Marquis hugs his family as they watch the barn get engulfed in flames with Eloise still inside. Then they use the sheriff's car to escape the place. Phew, what a thrilling movie. I do wish there were different reasons why Loretta Devine trapped him and his family, because Get Out was made just 3 years before this one. The acting by Omari and Loretta were great as usual though. What did you guys think of this one?
If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. We got lots more of foolishness on this channel that'll have you hollering. And if you like to watch more, just click here or here.